Mm-hmm. I agree. Real quick, just again, Chris. When I start the countdown, it's a 2.5 minute countdown. The last 10 seconds, I go. The mic's hot, so we could talk up until the last 10 seconds, and then we'll just go quiet at that point. And just so you know, there's always one glitch on one of my streams. Something always fucks up. So let's see. Let's see if let's see if you'll be the first one where it actually goes smooth. We've done it. We're back, baby. We're back for another Friday, and hopefully people can hear us. The mics are actually working. Chris, welcome to Twisted Gaming. They will. Well, my mics definitely work. I can say that for sure. Hopefully you guys are also being heard. Let's see here.
Test.
There we go. I think you're on now. Yeah, you aren't on, but you are on. It's always something.
Who wasn't on? Chris?
Both you guys were muted. You're good now.
Oh, well. Are we okay now? Sounds good. Matt Astor Gaming said. All right, good.
Awesome. So at least Twisted, Chris, you weren't talking for like 20 minutes. People said we can't hear them. So we got it down right in the beginning. So first of all, happy Friday, everyone. We made another week. We're going to kick it old school today with Twisted Gaming and Twisted Chris here tonight.
Welcome.
Twisted Chris, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I don't know where to start today. There's kind of a lot of stuff happened this week.
We had a break for 2 weeks. We're
We did.
out of touch a little bit,
A little bit. Had a very busy weekend last weekend. Have a busy weekend planned this weekend. But for right now, we can talk some gaming, and there's so much to talk about. I know, Chris, you haven't really purchased a lot of New Wave toy stuff yet, but I know you're kind of interested in that Coke machine you see right there. That's something you were kind of. How come?
Yeah.
What's got you tantalized with that one?
Your video?
Oh, someone watched my video. Check it out.
Your video? See, YouTube videos can sell products.
So, I mean, obviously, you must be like myself, a Coke fan. I am not a Pepsi guy. I am a Coke fan.
Yeah, exactly.
So you want to? So do you think this might get you? Because I know you're into full-size machines. We'll get more into that. But do you think this might be a gateway drug into getting? Because they have Berserk coming out, Frenzy coming out, Ghouls and Ghosts, Ghosts and Goblins. Are these now?
Yeah, I mean, I already pre-ordered the Zoltar,
There we
because
go,
I didn't want to
Zotar.
spend $6,000 for the
The real
actual
one?
big one. Yeah, because they got. I mean, you can buy them brand new, and there's like 3 different versions. One of them is like 4,000, and it goes up to 6 or 7,000, however la-di-da you want it. And I
Oh,
was
I
like,
think Hobby Hands has some fighting
oof.
words in the chat there.
Well, I can't put what Hobby Hands put up here because it's sacrilege. He's saying Coke and Pepsi taste exactly the same, so I can't even put that up on the screen. I'm sorry, Hobby Hands. I
Brown
gotta
sadness water.
can't do it, buddy.
Pepsi is brown sadness water. All right, the first
But
time I
that's
hear
the
that.
but that is the cool thing about New Wave Toys. I mean, they did the mini arcade machines, but I'm kind of like this animatronic things. And I also pre-ordered the Zoltar, and I told Chris I'll probably have to order a second one because my son loves it too, and I don't want it in his room. I want my own, so I might have to get a
Yeah.
second one on that. So Chris, you've been in this for a while as well. You've had the arcade one-up drug. You got the full-size arcade machines. Before we get into too much other things, I know there's been a lot going on with John D and Arcade One Up. Do you think something's going on there? I mean, to be quite honest, there's been enough talk right now about him not being with Arcade One Up and videos being posted, and Arcade One Up and John D have been dead silent. And that can be one of two things: either they really don't give a shit, which I highly doubt because they're pretty active in the community, or something is happening. There's a little bit of truth
Are
there
they
somewhere.
really though?
Well, it could
Are
be.
they
I
really?
mean, it could be that maybe he was let go, but he's got a severance package, and neither company can say anything for X amount of days. Maybe he is going to a different position in Arcade One Up, or maybe he was let go. But it's been completely dead silent, which is very unusual, especially for John D. He's normally
Yeah.
pretty vocal. So, what's your take?
Whether he's gone or not, we won't know for a bit unless it's, something just leaks, because they're gonna keep it silent for a while. Um, I'm on his Facebook page and everything, and he's still listed present at Arcade One Up, but that don't mean anything. But I don't know, if they did pretty much push him out. I mean, is it because they're bringing in Cyrus more, because his face has been popping up, and you never seen Cyrus as this much as now. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So I know that's different job titles and stuff, but somebody said maybe they're done with his services.
It could
They're doing
be.
like Kathleen Kennedy. They
Well,
locked his
that's what I'm
ass
saying. It's been a
outside.
hell of a week.
Yeah.
My nemesis, Kathleen Kennedy, also appears to have been flicked out. But again, it's not official. But all signs point to her being kicked out. So that's why I'm kind of saying, is that also what's happening here? But you make a good point. Perhaps maybe they're simply moving someone else into more of that public role. John D, I mean, me and him in Arcade One have had lots of disagreements. We're not in speaking terms in any way, shape, or form. But I never like to see anyone losing income, a job, unless he had something else lined up. But it's possible that he's been very, I'm trying to use the right word here, diverse. I mean, John could be liked in 1 second, and then a second later, completely piss off like everyone with a comment or something else. So, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people still think so, right, Chris? That he may have been let go.
Yeah, and that builds content also. So every channel is gonna have 50 videos of it. But another thing, the problem with Arcade One Up, they would have been a better company if they act like other companies, where like Nintendo. Okay, they're not on people's YouTube channels. They're not making Twitter deals.
Right.
They're not talking to the public. I mean, the creator of Yoshi or I mean Mario or whatever his name is, I can't pronounce it. Do you ever see him talking to anybody? No.
I've
Not
talked
really.
to him before.
Oh,
Oh,
I
I'm
have
jealous.
actually. I met him at E3, and I had no idea who the
Yeah.
hell he was until I left him. I was like,
But they
"Oh,
got
that's
too public.
Mr. Shigeru Miyamura or whatever his name is. Is that
Yeah.
him? That's who you're
But-
talking about?
Yeah, but they got too public, and they just put their self right out there. They should have made the products, had their own YouTube channel, say, hey, we got the new Killer Instinct out, blah, blah, blah. Let's test it out and be done with it. But when they start venturing out and going all these YouTube channels and this and that, that's going to cause a lot of problems. And
Don't they have their own social media outlet that they promote? Like, in other words, they just have their own train, so to
Yeah.
speak. Like most companies, they'll put out a video on, hey, we got this coming out, and the next thing, and
Well,
just
see,
stick
that's
to
what
their
they're
own stuff.
that's what they're doing now on their own YouTube channel. Like I think it's next either Monday or Tuesday. They have a video coming out with Cyrus talking about the new cabinet or whatever, which is time
Well, that's the other
crisis.
thing too, because Travis had become the community's voice of the people, and I'm a very good
Mhm.
friends with Travis. But he basically said he was kind of done. They would make some changes there. He wasn't kind of cool with what they were doing. Now, did he mean wasn't cool what they were doing because of the maybe John D being like go type of thing, and he didn't like the new people coming in?
Yeah.
It's hard to it's really hard to say right now. There was a post done on Reddit, and that's kind of where this all kind of started from. It was an anonymous post on Reddit by someone who signed up and read it like 24 hours before, said that he was no longer with the organization. And then people are doing all these digging. And again, RK1UP is quiet, John D's quiet, but again, there could be a reason for that. Again, if there are NDAs, and also remember, John, if he is leaving the organization, he was the person getting a lot of the licenses. Maybe they got to be careful because they don't want to piss off or alienate licensees that John D specifically worked with to get, like Capcom. Obviously, he came from Capcom.
Yeah.
Right. So there's all these things that are there, but I just find it strange that it's been, I can't even say crickets. There's been like nothing. And that's very unusual for them because a lot of times when someone comes out in the community or on posts, RK1UP will shut it down, have it pulled down, or at least make an official statement. And none of those have been done. And that just leads me to believe something is afoot.
Well, the same thing happened when they had the rigged giveaway too, though. There was crickets there
UAG
also.
scandal. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And now he's finally looks like he's starting to trying to wheel his way back in now. If you look at his community posts and stuff.
You know what we're doing, right? We're giving them free publicity right now, and
well, it's news. It's not free publicity. This is actual news, and people are talking about it. And I know.
I'm just saying.
A couple of people are like, there's been a couple of videos posted already, and again, there's been no official word. So does RK1UP or John D have to give us a word? Absolutely not. I'm just saying it's very unusual for them because normally they can't not say something. So I just find it unusual how quiet they've been. And the last person they would talk to is me anyway at this point. So that's okay.
But you also got to think that if he is gone from Arcade1UP, they might not have let him go, fire him, or anything. He might have got a better job somewhere else too. I mean, who knows?
GRS is always hiring. We are always hiring. Just saying. I can use the licenses too, man. It's good.
You'd hire that guy? Really?
No. But I
really,
according to all the places I do work, it has to be equal opportunity. No, I got to at least say, hey, it's equal opportunity. And then I say no in the interview. No. But I got to at least put it out there that way.
Yeah.
Let him drive all the way to New York.
And trying for that is right. She's right. It's not news. It's speculating. We are definitely at this point speculating. So you're absolutely right. That should be put out there. That is true. There's no hard evidence. It's all circumstantial at this point. John D disappeared like Jimmy Hoffa. Yeah, and that's a thing too. And again, not to throw stones. And I'm not going to talk about the Soul Night guys. I'm really not. I have Kathleen Kennedy and New Wave Toys and Twisted Gaming stuff to go into. But I will say when, generally when something does happen, that's when they go quiet. Like UAG, that whole thing. Now again, I don't necessarily know if RK1UP knew anything that UAG was doing with that thing. I'm not saying one had to do with the other.
Yeah.
But there was still something there that they were quiet about. I don't know, but maybe we'll find out soon enough because again, if he was let go, the news will come out eventually, whether it be in 30 days or whatever. And if he wasn't, he'll be showing up on live streams. And if we see everyone but John D in live streams and see tweets from everyone but John D, I'm going to say either A, they basically said, listen, you're out of the community. You're not posting nothing. Just do your job and get us licenses. And stopped going to the community. Because I'll say something else here too that I've noticed over the past time. I'm not saying John D's the reason or not, but the community's been said a couple times already. I've heard in the past couple days how the community's gotten a little more quiet, less twitchy, less drama. All this stuff. The community's really quieted down. I'm just saying, he's not around. It's quieted down. Again, circumstantial, maybe. I don't know. That's enough. I think unless you guys have something more to say, I think we can move on because it really is speculatory at this point.
Yeah.
What I want to talk about now is, since Chris is on here, Chris, first of all, like having you on the show. I know you're a little bit younger than us. Think about, you said you're 40s. You're in your 40s, right? You're a young man.
Mm-hmm.
You're a young man still. So you grew up probably more in the NES generation, I would say, than Atari ColecoVision. So was that your first console? Is that where you kind of started out?
My first console was Atari 2600.
It was? Okay, how was that?
Yeah.
Someone in the family already had that, or was it bought for you specifically?
That part, I can't really remember. I think it was my grandma's. I think she gave it to
me. Dang.
Yeah.
Wow, that hurt us right there, man. Grandma.
Because
if you would have said your mother, okay, fine, but grandma.
Because when did the 2600 come out?
1977. It would have been out in 76,
so
but it actually came out in 77.
I wasn't born yet because I was born in 1980. So yeah, it was my grandma's.
That.
Yeah, but now what I really grew up on though wasn't that; it was the NES.
So what was your favorite memory of that? Like, what was was it Mario Brothers like everyone else in the world, or was it something else you liked?
This is going to be funny. I do not like Mario.
All right. Okay, so
the only game I like that has to do with anything Mario Kart. It's the only thing I like Mario. I don't like any of the Mario games. Now I might have a few, but
not even Paper Mario. That's actually decent.
So you like playing with your friends because that's a game you really want to enjoy with your friends, right? Because that was more your thing. You wanted a couple of friends over and you play some Mario Kart.
Yeah, I was more multiplayer because I had a Nintendo 64. I had the 4 controllers. Now, when it was on the Super NES, there was only 2-player on that, I think, unless there was an adapter.
I don't remember an adapter for that, but maybe.
The NES did have
Super
a 4-player.
NES. He's talking about
Super NES. Yeah.
The Super NES had a 4-player adapter too. They did.
Okay,
but not for Mario Kart, right? It didn't.
I don't know if it was for Mario Kart, but they did a 4-player adapters. The N64 is really when, and the GameCube, those are the ones that really kicked off Mario Kart with 4-player multiplayer there. I will say that the GameCube was better. I always felt the N64's frame rate was just not quite there.
Yeah.
Well, they probably didn't know how to program for it. Some dude released a YouTube video that reprogrammed everything.
Now you hurt me a little bit. Your grandma had a 2600, which you played. You had the NES. So obviously you got that when you're young. So what was the first machine that you said to yourself, man, I'm going to save up, and that's a machine I got to have?
Let's see. That was probably the PlayStation 1.
Really?
Because all the other machines, my grandma bought them when they came out. Because see, here was this. I was in school, right? And for example, like when the Nintendo 64 was coming out or whatever, I told my grandma I got to get this because Killer Instinct and all this and stuff's coming out or whatever. And I guess that's when I was 16, so I was in high school or whatever. Well, on the launch date, I'm in school, right? So my grandma was there at Toys R Us in line.
Okay, I'm going to ask the burning question.
Grandma, man.
How old is your grandma?
Well, she's gone now. She's been gone since 2012. Yeah.
Well, she would sound like you had a really nice grandma.
I was going to say she was dedicated to the video game cause.
And in the arcades. I mean, she's the one that really got me into arcades because when I was a kid, my mom would work and I'd go over my grandma's house and she'd take me to the arcades at the mall and stuff. And that's when I really got into the arcades.
Okay, so hold on. We got to have a moment of silence for Twisted Chris's grandma because my grandma never did that. She had no idea what the hell a video game was, I think. Yeah. And Glenn, I'm sure you're in the same boat.
Well, my grandma was very nice. A lot of things. Yeah, she had no concept of games.
No, that's what I'm saying.
But what's funny though is her firstborn son, my Uncle Nick, like he was like I was 3 years old when he bought the Magnavox Odyssey, the 1972 Magnavox Odyssey. He always had like those first things. He had that. He had the Atari 2600. He got the first VCR. He had the first bootleg of Star Wars, the Superman. Whoa, that was the thing. But what got me more was that she got herself and went and waited online. Like she was online. Why are you here? Well, I'm here for my grandson. I'm gonna get him the big Nintendo thing, and it's a PlayStation. I don't know if she knew what it was, but that was just really nice. So you must have had a really special bond with your. Was it grandma or Meemaw?
yeah.
Was it just grandma? Because mine was a grandma.
Grandma. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because she didn't work or whatever my grandpa did, but she didn't work. So she was always available and stuff. And when new games were coming out, she would be right there to get them. So that's kind of what.
That's dedication. I must
Yeah,
say.
that's kind of why my game room it is the way it is, because it's nostalgia memories from my grandma.
Yeah.
A lot of these arcade machines, she took me to play on them, NBA Jam and the Mortal Kombats, the Killer Instincts, and all that and stuff. So it's kind of like a memory thing. So when I come in here, it reminds me of her because she was the one that always took me there.
That's awesome. That's the reason why we do this show, to be honest with you, is that whole memory thing. It's awesome.
Miniature golf, she'd take me there. I mean,
I used to love miniature golf.
So much stuff.
It's the only kind of golf other than Wii golf I can actually play. So you said a minute ago that she would take you to play the arcade games, and that nostalgia. Is that what? Like, I guess two-part. One is, so when did you finally say, you know what, I'm coming home with an arcade machine? And then you get hooked on it. And how did that come about?
So my first arcade machine that I got was the Killer Instinct 1. And believe it or not, I got that in 2018. So I just got into the actual bringing home arcades.
Now, was this
2018.
Mm.
Was this at your own place, or was it still your parents' house? I mean, where was this happening?
I lived in this house.
Okay, so you were on your own. You were on your own. Okay, because I came home with a Zaxxon, living at home, and in the living room, I'm like, what the fuck is this? what is this?
Yeah.
I said, well, it's a Zaxxon. It's gonna stay right here in the living room. They're like, oh no, it's not.
I've been at my house for 20 years now, I think. That's when I bought it. And then I added on the game room edition back in 2019 because I live in a 1945 year house. It's I'm in the historical district of my city, right? And the house is great and everything, but the old detachable garage that used to be here,
right?
It was rotten away and all that. So we tore it down and built a colossal
addition.
So that is that where you're in now? And the game room was actually
my house is next door, but this is the building. So the game room's on top. It's 1,165 square feet up here, and then you go below the same square footage is the garage, and then my house is next to this.
Go big or go home. Everything's big in Texas, I heard.
Yeah, exactly.
Although being from Canada, that's what you hear, the rumors,
Don't y'all got free insurance though?
Yeah, we do, but I don't know, man. I'd love to have a above garage arcade thing, Just saying.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just out of space. That's my problem. So that's why the Build-A-Cade, New Wave Toys, that's my thing. I have my Zaxxon. I've had it for years. I have my NES Pro Play, but the real arcade machine, obviously, nothing will take the place of it. They won't.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of maintenance you got to worry about. The weight, you got to move it around.
Oh yeah.
There's a thing. It's like when you adopt a puppy, right? It's a cute dog. Yeah, but you got to walk it. You got to feed it. You have to get its nails trimmed. It's not just put a quarter in and you play. There's upkeep, and it's worth it to a point. But also, it's just so much room for these here. And Stephen, you talked about a second ago, and Chris talked about it as well. CRTs, they start going bad. But if you guys want to talk a little bit about Unico, right? You guys want to discuss that a little bit? They have their new screen that came out. What do you guys think about that?
I saw that and my mind exploded. I saw that, and it was what's the guy's name? 19K Fox.
That Fox.
Yeah, and I actually sent them a message on Facebook. I was like, hey, what is this thing? Where'd you get this? Like, I've been waiting for years to replace the monitor in my 2 Dynamo cabinets, and this company's made a, what is it, 24 or 26 inch, 4x3.
Was it a 26?
I think it's 26-inch.
Okay, yeah, it's a big enough monitor, and does 15 kilohertz. It apparently has HDMI in the back and everything. So I'm like, this is perfect. 26.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jason's, yeah. So I don't. What's the price tag on it, Chris? Do you remember?
Was it?
It was under
If
300.
I'm thinking
wasn't
top of my head, wasn't it $349 or $449? Maybe $350.
So that's like $1 million Canadian. Just letting you guys know.
Really?
Exchange rate sucks. No, that would be, if it's $400 US, it would be about $600.
Plus, you may
And
be
then-
stuck with a
550
tariff
and
or an import.
shipping.
Yeah,
Yeah, import
Wow.
fees and not exchange rate, but shipping and all that stuff. It's
And then $10,000 in Australia, right?
Well, Canadian and Australian dollars are about the same.
No,
Oh,
no,
really?
no.
Okay.
He said 2 million Australian. Right there.
And
that was
Tony
right. I
is,
was right. Jason's $299 for it. So
$299. It's a great, if it has a proper refresh rate and the proper scaling, and in Windows that it gets detected properly in Windows 10 or whatever, that it kicks in the proper resolutions back to the machine.
That's where you lost it. When you said Windows and
perfect.
proper, it just flies out the window, man.
No, but when you plug in a modern day monitor, it knows that it's 1080p or, 1440 or whatever.
Oh, well, look, it's got the gambit. See, Jason's here again. CGA, EGA, HDMI, VGA, SVGA.
Jason must work for them or something, or he's really on it, I guess. But that's the thing. If it gets detected by the operating system properly, they're printing money, basically, because everybody's running them on emulation.
Now, Steven and
right?
Chris, you guys have the real machines. I've already got the one, and I'm okay eventually putting an LCD in. What's your take on it, really? I mean, I know a lot of people are real purists, like, no, it's got to stay CRT or nothing. What do you really feel about it?
I'm on the fence about it. If I shall be allowed to go first, I'm on the fence about it because I do love the look of a CRT. I really do. Now, when I don't like it is when the capacitors and the flyback start going and it does weird crap.
What about burn-in?
Then I'm like, you know what? I get all angry, and then I'm like, I'm just going to swap out the damn thing, and I don't have to worry about it anymore, because nobody's making. Yeah, you can replace the capacitors in them. You want to get electrocuted by a flyback? Go right ahead. Because, like, you can laugh, Glenn, but that sucker pops out.
Oh,
like
no, I
10,000
know. I'm just
volts,
trying to think. I'm just trying to see how
it'll
I get
give you a new hairdo.
I'm trying to. If I ship one to Kathleen Kennedy, will she know to grab here? Will she do it? Will she actually pull like that and get nailed?
Who knows? But I don't know how Chris feels.
Chris,
about
what do
it,
you think?
For me,
I'm a purist.
Okay.
When it comes to my original arcades. Now, I got a lot of resources though. I live in Texas, and I know a lot of people. So there's one company in Grand Prairie, Texas called Coin Tech. They've been in business for over 40 something years, and they work on monitors. They can fix any monitor, no problem. And
they local to you, or you got a bit of a drive?
They're 10 minutes away.
Oh,
okay. Well, in that case, it's a moot point for you. But if you live up in the boonies where I live, and then you bring somebody these old monitors, they look at it and go, "I remember those back in my childhood." They poke it with a stick, and that's it. Like, there's no parts, no nothing, right? So that's the crappy part, is where you live also, and whatnot. But yes, I'm gonna do like Tony, Electric Adventures. Just ride the horse till it falls off the cliff, basically.
Now, Chris, I know shipping CRTs are not easy, but do they take stuff mail order, or it's got to be brought to them, type of thing?
I'm not really sure. I mean, it's crazy because it's very hard to find them, because they're very private company. like on their building, it don't even say nothing. It's just blank because they got a lot of money in that building. So, they don't want to advertise on the
Right.
outside to
Right.
people. But they do a lot of local stuff around here, but I mean, you could probably ship something to them and I don't see why not.
It's just
But
that I
they're
It
worry, like,
costs you a fortune to ship a
well, like
monitor.
the one thing I have a problem with is not so much the arcades, but I have a couple of Vectrex units, and Vectrex uses a small vector monitor, and those guys are going to work soon. I mean, they're working right now, but that's the thing. If you ship them, the chances of those monitors surviving UPS, post office, Jesus, man, I get things now that
They're
are
not
packed.
gonna.
It's not going to survive. It's almost worth more for me to buy a plane ticket and fly down there, hey, hand them the thing, and do it that way. But it's a lost art. That's the thing. It really is a lost art. And as CRTs, like mine is burning. My Zaxxon, you can recap it all you want. You can do everything you want. It's got burning. So
Yeah.
CRTs eventually are going to not be around anymore. No one's making them anymore. Or at least if they are making them, they're going to be very expensive. It's going to be a very small thing. It's become a lost art. I'm sure a lot of people don't even know how to make them anymore. Like the Saturn
Yeah.
V rocket. All the people know how to make it, they're gone. And now we're building these rockets that not SpaceX, but NASA. They got their SLS. It's not near as good as Saturn V, but they don't know how to build a Saturn V anymore. That is just gone, lost.
Although all those guys are dead.
They are. But that's the same thing with CRT. So what do you think about that? Do you think CRTs will always be around, or there's going to be a problem in time where you're going to have to jump ship?
I mean, in time, but I don't see it right now. Here's the reason why. Around Dallas, we got retro arcades everywhere. You can look them up. Major ones are Cidercade. There's a Cidercade in Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Houston, and then there's another one they're doing right now. Then there's Free Play. They got like 6 or 7 locations, and I'm talking these are all original retro arcades, mint. A lot of their machines are mint condition, and each arcade they probably got 160 machines each.
Wow, that's got to be
Yeah.
hard to keep running.
There's just a lot of. Well, see, the guy that owns half of Cidercade, I bought the NBA Jam arcade right here from him, and my Guitar Arcade Hero. But I went to his house to pick it up. This guy works on this stuff for the arcades, and it's his arcade. But you know what I mean?
He's
And
his
he
own
got
repair guy.
Yeah, he got a warehouse that has probably 600 or 700 arcade machines that aren't in the locations. They rotate them. You go in his house, he has 10 or 15 pinball machines he's working on. You go in the garage, there's more arcades he's working on for the business and stuff. I mean, we just got a lot of resources around here. So, I mean, and you got to think about it. We're on planet Earth.
Some
is
of us
huge.
are anyway. Some of us are.
I mean, well, yeah. But if you really think about it, I mean, there might be locations around the world that has big, huge warehouses with CRT monitors just laying around,
Oh yeah.
ready to be picked up. I mean, who knows? But I don't see it getting.
You never know where to
ridiculous
find
to
this
that.
stuff. Like my Miss Pac-Man, I found that thing in a barn.
Yeah.
In a barn. The guy was just, oh yeah, I've got this thing, and and you never know where you're gonna find this stuff, honestly. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
We fantasize about finding that holy grail, Indiana Jones full of arcades as far as the eye can see, but we all dream about that stuff. But yeah, who knows, right? Who knows where this stuff's gonna be? But I think
Yeah.
CRTs are gonna be around for a while. I don't think they're gonna die as long as they keep making the parts like the flybacks. And
But
I have a friend of mine.
There's only a few places that do. That's the thing.
Well, check this out. So apparently, again, I'm no TV repair guy, but I have a friend of mine that actually takes the tubes out of regular televisions and he tests the impedance on the back of them that could fit into a arcade chassis and can handle the electronics there. So he transplants the tubes. There's apparently a chart out there or whatever that you can actually say, okay, a Zenith home TV of this size is compatible with this chassis on the back of it, so you can take it. They have the exact same tube, is what I'm saying, so that if you have a tube that's all burnt to crisp and it has burning like crazy, you could take that, put it
Swap it
in,
out.
and it looks brand new because the television, it's not that burnt in like an
Real quick, I'm
arcade
gonna
with
hold
the
you right
same
there, Steven.
stuff,
We got a
right?
super chat. You want to read the super
Yeah, go
chat?
ahead.
Want to read this one?
Oh, it's Lindsay.
Yeah, it's
Chris,
for
where
you.
do you plan on opening up your arcade when you do it? Most likely in the DFW area around here, mixed with all the other ones. But that's my goal. I'm 43 right now, so I plan on having it done by when I'm 50. When I hit 50, I'll open one. So hoping to start with at least like 100 arcade machines in there, and then
Pinball and
go up
arcade?
from
You
that.
doing both or just doing
Mhm.
straight art? Got to do pinball, right? Got to have some pinball.
Yeah, I got a secret investor that's
Nice.
invested in it. So yeah, but
Cool.
I want it to look really cool. Like, I mean, not just the arcade machines itself, but like the actual location when you walk into the building. I'm talking about retro from hell, not just like a warehouse. You walk in and then all the arcades and nothing. I'm talking about having the retro style in there, big time.
Got to have. You
So
got to spill the cigarettes and beer on the rug.
yeah.
You got. That's the real stuff. That's
It's
what I
got to be
remember.
sticky.
But yeah, I mean, when I bought one of my original arcades, I don't know which one it is. It might be the MK4 arcade, but there was a piece of gum stuck up under it. It's still there. I left it there. It's retro.
That's right.
I ain't
Somebody's
taking that out.
DNA stuck in there.
Funny you say that. On the left side of my Zaxxon, there's a big wad of gum stuck on the side. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's part of the history of it.
it's a memory. Yeah.
I got a story that it's pretty tame but funny, and it's this week. It happened this week, and so this is rated PG story, right? So we have a cat. So the cat doesn't go where my arcade is, never does. So we look around the house. We're like, where the hell's the cat? I was like, what the hell? So somehow the cat went into the arcade room, and we're looking and calling the cat, going, "Hey, hello." So I could hear walking around in the back of the machines, but I'd look back there with a flashlight. There was no cat. I opened the coin door of my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I put my flashlight in there. The cat is inside the cabinet, looking around and looking at the innards of the machine, and I'm like, "Get the hell out of there!" You couldn't find the damn cat. It was like inside my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade. She had got in through the back. So I was like, wow. And then, anyways, it's pretty funny. Surprised the cat didn't get
Well,
electrocuted
I'd say
back
that's
there
that's
because
not quite a horror.
it
It's not a
was
horror
plugged
story.
in.
It's
Did you
not a
have it
horror
turned on?
story.
No, it wasn't on, but it was
It could have
like,
been a horror story.
oh yeah, the cat it would have been the whole Christmas vacation.
That's what I was about to
or
say.
the cat under the couch thing or whatever.
So
but
so speaking of that could have been a
anyways,
disaster.
just a little story to share.
Chris, when you got a machine, like what was your like a nightmare story? Like you got a good machine, thought you got a good deal, you take it home and you're like, oh shit, this is not what I thought I was getting involved with. Like what was like, I guess, a horror story or a bad experience you had in doing this? Because it's always gonna have some. Oh, everyone has one.
Well, mine is okay. So I had the killer when I bought the Killer Instinct 1. I bought it from Tornado Terry's, and he delivered it to my house, set it into my house or whatever, because I didn't have the game room building and everything built yet. So, and then I bought Killer Instinct 2 or whatever next. Well, when I designed this building, and it's 2 stories, I should have thought, I should have thought it out better, because I have stairs coming up or whatever, but I should have had like a false floor where it would come out and you could have like a scissor lift that would bring it
An
up.
elevator.
Yeah, because the way I designed this, it was for arcades and stuff, but I forgot about the weight and stuff when I designed it.
Oh,
So every time I buy original arcade, like the Midway cabs or whatever that weigh like 300 pounds, I have a moving service that I'm real close with or whatever, and they bring 4 guys. Okay, no dollies. They hand carry them up to the game room, each one of them, and each arcade is 3 bills,
wow.
And
three
they
hundred
curse
dollars.
all the way up the stairs too, probably.
They carry them all the way up.
I know they swear and start cursing
Well,
all the
I
way up.
watched them. Well, I don't usually watch them because after the first one, I watched them one time. One guy kind of slipped and the machine almost fell. So I was like, this is giving me too much anxiety. I'm not. I'm just gonna pay them and they'll do their thing, and I'll go in the house and stuff. Because, oof. But yeah, 4 people, so it's $75 a person, and it takes 4 people to hand carry
all
them.
that up there. Wow.
They're not
So
easy.
I mean,
They're not easy.
yeah.
And,
Oh,
So
they're
I mean,
heavy.
oh
and,
yeah, yeah.
and just
So I've
imagine,
spent
like,
bunch of just
I was in Area 51 with, like, 25-inch, screen, or, these even bigger machines, or, like a Daytona USA machine. Forget about it.
oh yeah, yeah.
The sit down ones, forget it. My lightest machine is my Miss Pac-Man. Actually,
Mm.
that's just plywood, and it's light. The rest
Yeah.
of them, not so much.
Well, I guess the first mishap though was when I was about to have a party, and I cut all my machines on, and I went downstairs, and I came back, and I'm like, oh no! I looked at the Killer Instinct arcade. I knew exactly what it was. It was making sound, and the screen was black. Fly back,
Mm. It's
and
doing that whistling noise.
yeah, and what sucks about a Killer Instinct flyback going out, the what do you call it? The companies that make new flybacks or whatever, they don't work on that monitor. Because the guy that put it in, he said the monitor that uses is pretty rare, and he put like 2 or 3 in and it blew him. So he had to find a original rebuilt flyback that would work in that machine.
If I'm not mistaken, it's not CGA. It's the next one. I think they use almost like a VGA monitor in some of those, and you can't just put that older stuff in
And
there.
that makes it even,
If I'm
like,
not mistaken.
that's even bigger an issue because we're talking about CRTs. So this is a rare monitor, now even more rare flyback in there.
So it
Yeah.
took 2 weeks to get that fixed because he had to find one.
And you were probably like, thank God it was fixed.
Yeah. Now I never turn these machines on unless if I have friends over or I'm actually playing them. I don't just come up here and turn them on. It's like, oh look, I'm in an arcade. You can't
Yeah.
do that.
You do that at the beginning,
Yeah.
but then after a while,
exactly.
Yeah.
after that all wears off, you're
Yeah.
like, okay, I want these things to live for a while.
Now, if
Yeah,
you
I'm not
want
doing it for fun.
to have machines on all the time and enjoy it, Arcade 1-Up is your go. But originals,
Because half of them will be broken
no.
out of the box anyway. Doesn't turn on, so you're already, oh, okay,
Well,
it's good.
yeah, I've had a couple. Yeah. That were
Oh yeah,
messed up when I
there
got
these
'em.
monitors too. I had them recapped except for my Neo Geo that's on this side, and you could tell when it switches the screen, it collapses a little bit. So I could tell there's some stuff dying in there. So
Oh,
I'm
and
not a
another
monitor repair guy, but
And
just
that's it. And what Chris is saying is right for these old machines. But on the other side, if it's not turned on too often, the capacitors dry out, and that could lead to another thing. So you
yeah,
do turn them on once in a while, like you said. You keep people play them. You do turn them on. But you're right. When we all got them, when I got all mine at first, you turn them all on. You walk into a room, it's like, oh, this is fantastic. You do it for a while, and then you start thinking, you know what? Each time you turn it on, is something going to happen, and
it might not
something going
turn
to
on.
pop. Right. Now, a lot of
Yeah.
times, it's not as serious. It could be a capacitor. You open up, you see, oh, capacitor blew. You see it. Chip might be more of a problem. Some chips are still available. Some a lot more rare. But again, so monitors is the thing.
The
And
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles board is known to fry chips, basically, and just by turning it on. And then what happens is that it's a series of chips that all die in a row. So if you replace like 5 of them, you're replacing 8 of them because it goes right up the line. So yeah, stuff like that happens, and then there's no voice, no music, no whatever. And what I've done with mine is I put heat sinks on just about everything to
Heat
prevent it from
dissipation.
doing just to get it to do whatever. And a friend of mine, he's replaced the chips with updated. Um, he didn't replace them with the exact chips. It's same specs but different manufacturing process, so they're built better. And since then, it's been rock solid.
Nice.
So that's little things like that happen, and they share that in the community and stuff, which is great. But yeah, these things are going to die. I'm
Yeah.
counting the days.
Well,
So
see, I have a casino room area also that before when you walk down from the game room, you go down the stairs, you make a left, there's another little room, and that's my casino room where I have like slot
slots.
machines and stuff.
Okay.
But I bought a you know original Game King, those gigantic digital slots, or whatever.
Yeah.
Bought it from a guy in Grand Prairie for $700. Now those are expensive because just what they are, right? And I turned it on maybe 4 times, right? Over past a year. Last time I turned it on, damn, the screen vertical collapse.
Oh.
I pulled it out of the casino room and sit in the garage, and now I'm trying to sell it for $200. I'm just trying to get rid of this shit because I don't care.
You know what? That this stuff beats you up, and
Yeah.
after a while, you don't want to fight with them anymore. That's what's happened to me.
Yeah.
They haven't broken down lately, but after a while, you kind of it rips your soul out. Sometimes you're just like, oh man, I
Yeah.
just spent $50 over here, $100 there, and
It's
you're
not a
just
cheap hobby.
replacing stuff.
It's not going to be
No,
a
it's
cheap
not.
hobby.
No, it's not. I've got 2 spare MVS boards from this thing. So I got 2 boards for the 1 slots, which is great. So stuff like that, you keep a few parts around, which is the thing you should do. You should have a small stable of parts, like power supplies, keep them around. you
Yeah.
know,
Now
like just keep some power supplies around, 1 or 2, and that's it.
let's switch gears a little bit here. So, Chris, when you were growing up, obviously your grandma was your rock star with the game consoles. What was
I'm
your
jealous.
Yeah, we all are. I think everyone in the chat was too. But growing up, what was like your favorite I guess TV show and movie growing up? Like, when you were growing up, that was like your thing. Like for me and Steven, we like Star Wars, we like TV shows, we like, what was your favorite ones back then?
So
One
when
of
you
them
were a
was
child, you were in the 90s, right? Like you were more fast forward a little further up into the cartoon stuff. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, I loved I got to try to remember back, but I loved cartoons. I loved Bugs Bunny, Roadrunner, um Saved by the Bell. Don't remember what year that
Oh,
was.
same.
I even liked Betty Boop cartoon. I love
That's
that
the older
stuff.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, very old stuff. Because I used to watch the Cartoon Network and stuff. But anything cartoon, that's probably pretty much all I watched was cartoon.
Okay, well, that's
I loved
fair enough. They're all good stuff. Yeah, they don't really
Oh,
show
yeah.
much of the Bugs Bunny anymore. You have to go in like YouTube and the good
It's
stuff
all
anyway.
tamed down. All the good stuff's been
What
ripped
about
out by
movies? Going to the movie
people's
theater.
explosions.
What was your jam?
What year though? Of my
You
age.
tell me. Like for me, like my first real like aha moment was obviously Star Wars. The very first Star Wars, like that movie. I saw Rocky. I saw other movies before that, which I loved. Like Star Wars became my thing until Kathleen Kennedy ruined it. But what was your thing? Was it Rocky? Was it Death Wish?
Terminator.
Terminator, the original
First
or
one?
the sequel? 1 or 2?
I liked them all. I liked the first one where he's mean,
Yeah.
and then he gets, crushed at the end, I guess, in the machine or whatever. And then part 2, I mean, I've seen them all.
Okay,
But
so
yeah, always loved the Terminator.
for 1 and 2, we both know we're going to be the best ones. What do you think about 3, 4, and the others? How do you feel about those other ones?
They don't get as good as the originals. Now, like part 3 the one where he's at the cemetery holding the coffin.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, well, I
Yes.
dig that. And driving the hearse, and it looks like a
That-
piece of crap at the end.
Yes.
Oh, I love
Yes.
that one.
That was with the girl
great.
Terminator, and she was pretty cute. So can't
Oh,
fault you
yeah,
on that
yeah.
one. So I agree. See,
Um,
for me, 1, 2, 4, 3. The fourth one was where they were in the future was Terminator Salvation. I like that one.
Okay,
That's a
yeah.
side story. That's
It was kind of a side story. Now, what do you
Yeah.
feel about there was Genesis, but they spelled it like 50 different ways, and then there was I don't remember the
Dark
the
Fate.
Dark Fate. What do you think about those two?
They were all right, but being a Terminator fan, I gotta watch them. I can't
I can
diss
respect
them or
that.
anything.
I can respect that.
Yeah,
I can
it's just
respect
like horror films. Big horror fanatic. Friday 13th, my favorite.
Oh, here we go. So that's what we're talking about. So okay, Friday the 13th.
Yeah, Friday the 13th. I mean, I watched that probably the youngest my mom would let me. And I don't know how old I was, but I've always was addicted to that. That's why I got
And to
a
make you shit your pants.
Back in the day, I can watch them easy now and laugh about it, but they scared
I'm not
the hell out of
judging,
me when
Chris,
I was
but
a
if your
kid.
mom let you watch Friday the 13th as a child, no wonder your grandma stepped in.
Well, I actually have a studio mannequins of like Jason Voorhees standing in front of the projector screen, and then Twisty the Clown
Yeah.
from American Horror Story.
Yeah.
I got him on the other side or whatever that I made. But yeah, Friday the 13th, hands down. I just loved horror films.
I was always the very first Halloween. After the first Halloween, I can agree with Jason, but there was something just about that very first Halloween. To me, that's the one that really kicked it off.
Yeah.
And I really liked Freddy versus Jason. So people laugh at me. I loved Freddy
love
versus
that
Jason.
one.
That was great.
So good.
And Jason X. I actually really enjoyed Jason X as well.
Yeah, when he became Super Jason. That was
the mask and everything on there.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good.
I just wish they would come out with more, but they had that lawsuit. There was I guess the producer or director or whatever, a creator, they've been having a lawsuit for I don't even know how many years now. That's why we haven't seen no Friday the 13th movies. But I think they're finally starting to. That's going to come
coming back.
So, yeah.
Well, it
so
seemed
we'll
like
see some Jason movies.
what sometimes when's enough's enough. I loved Halloween 1, 2 was okay, 3 was meh, but then they have 2.0, and they're just getting stupid now. I mean, they're just getting stupid.
Yeah.
It takes away from them a little
They
bit.
don't make horror movies like they used to. Let's just say that. Like I've tried to watch these newer ones, and I can't do it. It kind of okay. I can predict jump scares. That's how it is nowadays. You're like, oh, there's one
that's
coming
when
up
that's
any
when you
minute.
turn your
Never saw
arcade
the movie.
machine on and screen doesn't come on right away. That's your jump scare.
Yeah, right.
Oh, the screen. Oh, it came on. Oh, okay.
yeah. But yeah,
Now-
it's basically they're predictable is what I'm trying to say, right? So
Yeah. Now I like the new generation horror film like Saw, the Saw series.
Oh,
I'm
that's
excited about Saw X.
Oh,
I mean, because those make you cringe.
yes.
Um,
Like American
mean,
Horror
they're-
Story. My son's got me to
Yeah,
American
they're
Horror
not
Story now.
they're not scary. They
No.
make you cringe. I mean,
Yes.
because it's
is Megan really a horror? I see Megan in the chat, and I'm like, is that horror really? I was laughing the whole time.
Did you
You
ever
might
see
as well
The
say
Gate?
Cocaine Bear was a horror movie.
Well, that
to
was
me,
funny though.
you know.
I loved Cocaine Bear.
It was awesome. I loved it too.
But there was a show in the '80s, a movie in the '80s called The Gate. That
remember
reminds
that.
me of this. The Gate was, a PG-13 horror film, and it was good. I mean, if you watched it, it was good, but it was PG-13. It couldn't go so far. But it had some good scares, and it was creepy. So yeah, so good. You're hard. So have you seen The Toxic Avenger Part 2 and Part 3?
the what?
Oh
The
no!
what?
The Toxic Avenger.
Avenger.
And then it was Part 2 and Part 3. I'm in Part 2 and Part
yeah.
3. I'm a star in there.
Seen that.
I'm in there for like
Really?
13 seconds. Yeah, 13 seconds. I have
He's a
13
background
one-second
guy.
spots.
Crap.
Yeah,
Wow.
all over in there.
Lucky you.
He was the
Wow, that's
first
pretty
the
neat.
first superhero from New Jersey, the Toxic Avenger.
Wow. That's pretty
Well, you
awesome.
said you
Have
like
you ever heard of?
cartoons, the Toxic Crusaders.
Oh yeah,
The Toxic
yeah,
Crusaders.
yeah.
That's the same thing.
Yeah, I
It's
used
him.
to have toys of that
See? There you
crap
go.
too. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. Now, have y'all ever heard of the horror films Phantasm?
But the ball right in the head. Absolutely.
Yes, the big man.
The big
yeah.
man. And the little people, he
I don't
squishes
remember
down
those,
to little
but
people.
okay.
Yeah, they
Those
made
were
a
those
lot of
movies
those
that were
too.
creepy. Those were creepy.
Oh yeah.
Creepy
Grabbed by the
movies.
ghoulies.
There was
Yeah, I
also
like creepy.
there was one. I don't know if you've ever
stuff.
seen this one. This one freaked me out as a kid. I saw it in like '72. I was young. It's called "Don't Be Afraid of the Dark."
Hmm.
And basically,
But you were.
it messed me up for some time. It was I don't want to give it away, but if you ever look up, it's from the early '70s, the late '60s, early '70s. Don't be afraid of the dark, but it definitely at the end you're like, that was wrong. That was just wrong.
Oh, me as a kid, it was The Exorcist. That screwed me up for weeks. The weeks with the girl walking backwards up the stairs and spitting in the priest's face.
Oh, that's half the
and
girls I ask out.
barfing.
Half the girls I ask out go, eh?
Yeah, but
They
you have that
just walk
effect on
away.
women. You have that effect on women. That's the thing. So that's cool.
So Chris,
so
when
what
you
about
watch,
other movies?
wait. So when you watch these horror films, your mother was watching with you? Like, so your grandmother was taking you to the
His
arcade?
grandma was watching them.
Who was
with him,
watching
I
these horror
bet.
films
He was
when you
that
was a kid?
cool.
Just be myself.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't
That
think
would
my
have
mom
brought
was
your
into
grand.
it, but
That would have made your grandma be cool to another level.
yeah,
if you
would-
would
I
watch
didn't
it
really
would've.
have rules when I was a kid, really at all. I mean, my mom pretty much let me do whatever I wanted to. You know.
I had a more sheltered life. So what about other movies? Like not horror, but you mentioned one earlier, but like the Terminator movies. But was there one that stuck with you, like that you'd take a bullet if you were in a terrorist camp and they said you can only watch one movie before you die? What will it be? You know,
Oh, that's a good one.
Caddyshack.
Caddyshack.
Caddyshack, really?
I'm a big Chevy
Chevy Chase?
Chase fanatic.
So you
I
might
watched-
you like Fletch, don't you?
Oh, I love Fletch.
Oh
yeah.
boy, here we go with Fletch again.
I love Fletch. I don't like the new one that they made, but without Chevy Chase. But
Oh, they made a new one, a
it's
part
called
3.
Fletch Confess or something like that. And
Oh, and he's
the only
not in it, huh?
Fletches that for me it's Fletch and Fletch Lives. That's it. There's no other
Yeah.
Fletches. Those are pretty cool. Yeah.
Caddyshack was good.
Caddyshack.
Caddyshack was good. Caddyshack was a good
Yeah.
film.
That was
Even
an all-star cast. Like
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Rodney Dangerfield and
Yeah, half of them ain't even alive anymore.
no, I know.
No. But even Caddyshack 2, you know, a lot of people didn't like that. I loved it because it was just goofy.
It's still
and-
Caddyshack.
Well, you know, I think the
funny.
reason people didn't like that was, and Jackie Mason, I like Jackie Mason, I do, but they took, you know, they replaced the main character really with him, and I think a lot of people got turned off with that. But it wasn't a bad. Oh, and also Bill Murray was replaced by oh my God, Dan Aykroyd in the film.
Okay, yeah.
So I think those two
Okay.
things just turn people off a little bit to it. But if you watch it as a standalone thing, it's not bad. It's like Airplane, which Jason said. Airplane. It's one of those comedies you turn your brain off and you just sit down and
Hot Shots
you watch
Part
it.
2.
Naked Gun.
Hot
Police Academy. I loved Police Academy.
They made like 8 or
The
9
Blue
of them,
Oyster?
and they
Police
stopped.
I think they
Academy
made
and
like
the Blue Oyster?
7
You
of
remember
them.
that? Let's all go to the bar.
Yeah. Revenge of the Nerds. Oh,
yeah.
that was some other good ones. Now we're bringing back.
You know
old-
what?
Yeah.
It didn't age well, but I still love it.
Oh, yeah.
I still like those movies, Revenge of the Nerds.
Well, I was
It's
telling one of the doctors today at the job, said, "Did you ever watch Better Off Dead?" I'm like, no. I said, "Oh, you got to watch Better Off Dead. It's a classic."
I don't remember that one. I do remember the name, but I don't remember
John
the show.
Cusack. You have to watch Better Off Dead.
Oh yeah, I remember that
Classic.
now. Yeah. I remember that.
Animal House.
Oh,
John Belushi.
Animal House. Animal House
Food
was
fight.
a great film. Great film. They made a TV series
Yeah.
out of that for a while in the 80s.
Did they
wow.
really?
Yeah. Made only one season.
Animal House. The food
Yeah, I
fight
got-
is the best part of the whole movie.
Oh yeah. I got all those original movies though and everything in the media room, all the physical copies. Because see, I collect that
Oh,
stuff too.
Okay. So how do you
movies
feel
and stuff.
about that, Chris? The world today has become very, DLC content.
Digital.
How do you feel about that?
Eat it with a passion. You see, look, PS5, I got the disc version. Okay, I don't want the. Oh, you can't see it, but
The
I
digital.
got. Yeah, I got the disc version. I buy everything physical, even when new games come out. I buy everything physical.
But the hard thing is,
Movies.
when you buy it physical,
There's no data
is it
on
really
there.
just a key that says download the game? Is there
A
anything even
lot of
on
it
that
is.
disc?
Uh,
A lot of it is. There's nothing on there. It's
oh,
just a key.
see, the thing is, though, the games that are made today, and here's the problem: the games that are made today can't fit on those discs.
They're
Because
huge.
if you really think about it, like Call of Duty, those games are so
duty.
ridiculously huge. I don't think you could fit it on a disc.
Well, the other thing too is the transfer rate between the disk drive and the hard drive in the console. It's actually faster to download it with a fast internet connection. It goes faster. It's sad. So the throughput
Now, if I remember, Chris,
isn't as quick.
if I remember right, when you bought the PS5, weren't you up like 24 hours, 30 hours straight to buy one? Was it the PS5? When you were like live streaming for like a day and a half.
Yeah, I remember that. I think the first day I was up 12 or 13 hours. I think I was
Because you were waiting for like Best Buy to put one up there. You were like
Yeah.
live streaming.
That was
I
my
went to
biggest.
bed. I got up again. You were still there. I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
still here.
It was my biggest video I've ever had on my channel. It got like 100,000 views, and the funny thing was my most successful video I ever made. I probably got like $800 in super chats, and I didn't even know what super chats were at that time. But I saw these things pop up, and people were sending me money, and I was like, "Wow, that's nuts!" And yeah, that's where I got a lot of my subscribers from. A lot of people think it was from the arcade one up stuff. It was PlayStation stuff where all my subscribers came from, because after that video, I gained probably 4,000 or 5,000 subs
Nice.
in like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, I mean, you were just streaming. I go going to bed, waking up, and you're still
Here's the
going
problem,
live.
though. So after that, and my channel was, on the rise like no other, right? And it would have probably been like that, but the problem was, if what happened the beginning of that year
Yes.
happened,
Right.
and I left YouTube for 3 or 4 months. Came back, I started doing arcade one up stuff and crap, and it pretty much killed the
momentum.
channel. Yeah, it just killed it, because there was 2 other guys that went live all night like I did. We had the same amount of subs, right? They're up in the hundreds, thousands.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir here, baby. I had
left
me and
dust.
Oh my God. A lot of my friends were around the same, and they were over 100,000. We have, I got them. Somebody I can throw out there, but I hear you. Your friends, and they hit that one video and they take off. But things happen, and
exactly,
something's really happen.
That's the thing about YouTube, that when you hit that momentum, you got to grab it, and you got to ride it.
Right.
If you don't, you're dead. But I don't care anyways. But
I didn't realize. We have to have you on again, Chris, because I didn't realize our time is actually up. We've already
really?
I got to go pick up my son at the movie theater. So
I'm sure you guys already know about him, but if not, go over to YouTube, give a like, subscribe to Twisted Gaming TV.
Go check it out.
Check it out. He's got some really good content on there. And if you had a couple of days to spare, go watch that video that plays for like, I think it's 72 hours. But Chris, absolutely fantastic having you on. Love to have you on again.
Yeah, because I feel like we barely even talked.
We did. The hour just went by like nothing.
Yeah, it went really quick this time, I have to admit. Yeah, so we'll get you on definitely for sure.
Cool.
So real quick as well, for everyone out there, don't miss your opportunity. If you want to get something from New Wave Toys, I got the Berserk and Frenzy. If you put in Berserk 20, you'll get, I think, 20% off in the next 20 days. I purchased both because, again, I'm nuts. They're only sit in bags anyway. But you don't want to miss out because you're going to want them again later. Trust me. So with that being said, that other show, Super Game Room Dudes, is kicking off right now. A lot of guys are going to hop over there. Chris, we're going to have you on again. We can
Absolutely.
do it again. But for everyone else, listen, thank you for joining us again. You survived a week. Enjoy the weekend. We'll be back here next Friday again on Kicking It Old School. But until then, no matter what you do, no matter what show you watch, of course, you got to watch this one. Make sure you tell your family and friends that you love them because tomorrow is never promised. And remember, most of all, what do we say?
Game on.
Game on, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Good night.
Game on. Sit, Blue, sit. Good dog.